Hello and welcome. Today we're talking about JavaScript Media Queries. And I know that sounds kind of strange. We usually leave media queries to CSS. But sometimes JavaScript needs to take over and do some things that CSS just isn't capable of. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples today where we grab the viewport width and height with JavaScript and make some dynamic content happen that really couldn't happen with CSS. So let's get started. Today we're going to use JavaScript to do a couple of things we can't do with CSS. We're going to check the width and the height of the screen, and you see a weather app here. I'm going to have a tutorial for that soon. And we're in iPhone 6, 7, 8 Plus mode, so that is 414 pixels wide, 736 pixels high. But we need to be able to check the width and height of the viewport in JavaScript to load some things, and we can't necessarily do that with CSS when we're talking about loading dynamic content and determining what will actually be created on the page. So here you see the weather app, and the first thing we're going to look at is this text input, and the placeholder says city, state, country, or zip code. But let's size this to an iPhone 6, 7, 8 without the plus. And you can see now there's only 375 pixels wide. Now we didn't reload the page, so you can see you get city, state, country, or zip, and the code kind of cuts off. Let's reload the page. And now you can see the search input just has city, state, country, and the or zip code is cut off. So let's take a look at the function that determines that. When the page loads, we call this set placeholder text function. We look at the input, and that is this new location ID. And then what we look at is the window object, and we check the inner width property. And we're saying if the inner width is less than 400, we're using a ternary statement. So if it is less than 400, or 400 pixels, we're going to switch the placeholder to city, state, country, or set the placeholder to city, state, country. However, if it is 400 or greater, the placeholder is going to say city, state, country, or zip code. And that's what we got when we reloaded the page at 375 pixels. We got city, state, country. Now I'll switch back, and I'll have to reload the page again because that will trigger the function in JavaScript. And now we have city, state, country, or zip code. So that is our first example of checking the width of the page and loading something different. Another example, let's look at this 6-day forecast, the extended forecast here at the bottom of the page. And you can see these icons. We're getting these icons from the Open Weather Map API. And these are the smallest icons that we can get from the Open Weather Map API. However, if we go to a larger screen, we want to get some larger icons, and the API allows us to request larger icons. So we need to know what size we want to request. And let's take a look at that in iPad mode. Now this shrunk to 50%, but you can see the icons now, they look pretty small because they're the same size icons we were using with the iPhone. But let's reload the page. And now you can see we get larger icons to use in our iPad view. So let's take a look at the function that makes that decision for us. This is the create daily forecast icon function, and now this is called as we loop through the extended forecast data from the API. You can see I pass in two parameters. I pass in the icon that the API provides, and I also pass in alt text for the image icon, and that is the descriptive text for that day's forecast, and it's also what determines the icon. So it could be mostly sunny or partly cloudy or rainy, something like that. And here we create the image element, and then once again in an if statement we look at the window object, and here we're saying the inner width, if it is less than 768 pixels wide, so that is less than the iPad width, or we have the or operator, if the inner height of the window is less than 1024, and that was the height of the iPad viewport. So either one of these. Then we want to request the regular size icon, and we just pass the icon that the API has given us into this URL, which will then request the correct icon image for our app. However, we have an else here, and that means if it is 768 pixels wide or larger, or if it is 1024 pixels or taller, go ahead and request the 2x icon from the API. And so you can see that is how that is determined. Then we set the alt text and we return the element as we're dynamically building that part of the app. And so if we come back here and look, you can see I've got the larger icons that were determined here. But if I go to, let's go to a small phone like this iPhone 5, and I'll fix the display here in just a second. Need to reload and it will load correctly. There we go. I think we can go ahead and view that at 100%. This is the iPhone 5. You can see now this adjusted. Our text input says city, state, country. The or zip code part won't fit. And we have the smaller icons as well. They don't look that small because we've zoomed the phone up a little bit, but they're nowhere near the size that they would be on an iPad. When we switch to iPad, I'll have to lower the zoom. Oh, no, it did it for me. Great. So now there's the small icons in the iPad. And of course, it doesn't have the full text in the search entry either until I reload, and JavaScript will take care of it for us. It's also important to know that you can check this on your own at any point in your DevTools console if you just type in window.innerHeight or window.innerWidth. And you can get exactly what those values are in the console, which is very helpful. Let's take a look at MDN and the reference they have for window.innerWidth. And you can see it says the read-only window property innerWidth returns the interior width of the window in pixels, and this includes the width of the vertical scroll bar if one is present. And then more specifically, it returns the width of the window's layout viewport. And you could look at those details if you want to, but we are using that appropriately, and that lets us get that viewport inner width. And of course, here is a link to inner height. If you're working with an element and you want to get the inner width or height of the element instead of the full window, then you want to use element.clientWidth or element.clientHeight. There are some things to note about this though. It includes the padding, but it excludes the borders, margins, and vertical scroll bars if they're present. So let's look at an example that they give on MDN. And you can see the padding is included in this area, but the border and the margin are not included. So if you do use the client width or height on an element, just be aware of that and how the box model works. Let's look at an example of the client width and height in the console. So let's select something from the body that's a little bit smaller than the overall body. Let's say document query selector, and I have a class named weather container, which is the card you kind of see inside there. Now you can see it highlighted here, and it's got a little bit of a padding around it or a little bit of a margin, probably a padding from the other element. I can't remember exactly. But there we have weather container, and now I can use client height, and you can see it will be 646 pixels, which is just a little smaller than the 667 that we get from the full display. And if we use client width, we get 353 pixels, which is just a little bit smaller than 375 pixels. So we can choose different things like that in the document and get the width and height of an element. Let's do one more. Do document.query selector, and now let's select the nav element. Do client height, and it's only 115 pixels high. And now we'll do the width, and it is 353 wide. There you have it, guys. We looked at JavaScript grabbing the viewport width or the viewport height and changing some things that CSS just can't do right now. And really we want to leave the media queries to CSS whenever we can, but sometimes we have to take control with JavaScript just to get the job done. I'll see you next time. Hi, I'm Dave, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Remember to keep striving for daily progress instead of perfection. Subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to be alerted when I post new tutorials. I'll see you next time.